As you can see, part 3. As you can see, the video is choppy and grainy, which is understandable because this was on Betamax format and was copied several times. By the time the videotape reached USAP, it must have been copied dozens of times. By the way, as a rejoinder, Senator Jokno was a top-notcher of the CPA board exams and the bar exams, although he did not go to law school. He did study accountancy in an unknown college in Taft Avenue called De La Salle College. So activism was not new to La Salle. Ka Pepe Jokno was a senator before Marcos jailed him along with Senator Ninoy Aquino before they were considered enemies of the state. Now back to La Salle activism. 1982 was a quiet year in campus, and the only issue at the time was the implementation of the trimestral system, which was at its second year of implementation. Now, this may come as a shock to you who are comfortable with the system, but actually there was opposition to the system by some professors and of course a lot of students. Why? Because they saw that it was not being implemented the way it was conceived. The trimestral system was actually inspired by a thesis of a DLSU engineering student, industrial engineering if I remember correctly. It was supposed to save students money and time. USAP was up in arms against the trimestral system. Sure, it made the course completion shorter, but it did not make it more affordable. Many USAP leaders, including the brother of my buddy, did not enroll for the next school year in protest of the system. They were suspended by the admin as a result of the protests. But nobody listened to USAP at that time. They were mostly derided and dismissed as troublemakers, which was exactly what my favorite peacemaker said about struggles. First, they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. That was not some communist or terrorist who said that. That was Mohandas Gandhi of India. This was what a troublemaker looked like. Take a look at this. Marcos and his shenanigans were under the radar for most LaSallians back then. He was not exactly trending at the time. In the meantime, the imprisonment, the torture, the killings of journalists, activists, and dissenting priests went unnoticed. Remember, there was no internet available at the time. So basically everyone was unaware of what was happening. They only knew what they read from 3 newspapers in existence at the time. Times Journal, Bulletin Today, and Daily Express. And by the way, the 3 newspapers I mentioned, each and every one of them was owned by a crony of President Marcos. So you know who told the truth about what actually happened? 1, the trouble-making campus press. And 2, the so-called mosquito press like We Forum. WE Forum. Possessing a copy and selling a copy of the We Forum at the time was a subversive crime punishable by 10 years imprisonment. But USAP had copies, and some intrepid newspaper sellers actually sold them wrapped in the regular acceptable newspapers. So that was 1982, uneventful and very unexciting except for some troublemakers at USAP who were headquartered at the mezzanine of the college canteen. On 2 round tables near the window overlooking the DLSU football field, the USAP crazies talk about their crazy dream of someday restoring democracy for the Philippines.